Good morning, everybody. I woke up at 3 with massive head pain. I mean, it's massive. It's it's back here, and it feels like I feel like my head's being roto-rooted. It feels like there's a corkscrew going through my head, going from one side out to the other. So I connected myself up to my vibration, put it directly on my head to see if that wouldn't help silence it a little bit. It did for about 2 seconds. Um, I even put it on my face because the pressure is wrapping around my forehead here. It's like every time the helmet changes is how it feels like on my head, a helmet. I mean, besides going through here, it's going through here and going across my head. I like can almost feel the outline of my whole head. That's how much pain is in my head right now. So I'm sitting on the vibration because it still vibrates the rest of my body. And yesterday when I was in the leg warmers, and I'm not sure, I haven't checked the situation out there. I've got some edema. I can tell by the indentations that I have from sleeping in my legs. They're not near as deep as they were when I woke up yesterday. So that's a good thing. That's positive. But my blood pressure skyrocketed last night. It went up to 149 over 100. And it's been like 90 over 60. So I'm really, and it's not because I eat salt and all that crap. It has nothing to do with it. It's stress related. So I was watching a movie yesterday before sunset and finished it after sunset. What would Jesus do? And I took some notes. I want to see what year it was put out, so that way you can understand the magnitude of the messages in this movie. 2010. So that's 12 years. See, it even hurts to think and calculate, like when I really have to do something that requires detail. That's when I mean, it literally hurt to think just now. But anyway, oops, that's not it. So what would Jesus do? If you have not seen the movie with, what's his name, I want to say Rob Schneider, but John Schneider. I'm telling you, it's a great movie. There's a few parts in it that you can just tell the acting is not up to par, but other than that, it's an eye-opener about our world, and it's from 2010. One of the phrases was, "I've walked where you walk," and I wrote in my little notes here, wow, was that a powerful statement? Shazam. And it was. If you watch the movie, you'll understand. What does it mean to follow Jesus? That was a question that John Schneider posed to the congregation. And then this was poetic. You sit in church and talk about following Jesus. You even sing songs about him. But do you mean you are suffering and denying yourselves the way he did? Are you really following his examples? Would he even have considered aiding in a destruction of a church to build a casino And I'm going to add or convert it into a brewery. I can't even go into them. I can't. Because it's a house of worship. And it should remain a house of worship. Period. I mean, let's just be honest. Would Jesus build any kind of casino? He wouldn't. He wouldn't be building a brew house either. Let's just face it. No drunkards. It's in the Bible constantly. Don't be a drunkard. But I'll tell you, if you really think about this, we need to wake up. God does not approve of this behavior. Man does because he laughs all the way to the bank with your bloody money. Think about it. Actually, when I watched that portion, and when I was homeless, and I bought 2 lottery tickets, I did. I won one. I won a free lottery ticket. So for the 2 tickets I bought, I got 3 out of it. I got a third one for free. And I didn't win on that one. When I watched that part of the movie, I went, yeah, I understand. I got it. What was I thinking? Sorry. Something else that I wrote when I said man does he wants you to support the casinos because it's all about him making money, or whomever, if it's a group of people. And in Canada they say bloody all the time, and bloody money to me took on a whole new meaning after reading the Bible starting in January. Talk about mind-blowing. Wow. That Jesus was sold out for 30 shekels. It converts to $91 to $441 in 2020. Are you kidding me? Or 2021? 2020. I don't know. I don't remember that date. Not surprising with my head hurting as bad as it is right now. Okay, so and this was part of the movie, except for my add-ins. Would he take bribes? We're talking about Jesus. What would Jesus do? Would he take bribes from corrupt public officials to run graffiti tabloid photographs or ads on television or on the internet or in newspapers or in magazines? Would he? He wouldn't. I gotta work on my punctuation. When I take my notes, I'm not always very punctual. Or I'm not very, I don't adhere to my punctuation stuff. I'm more worried about trying to get everything down that's in my head. And I have to get better with using my microphone because sometimes my head is moving faster than my typing, so it's easier for me to speak it than it is to type it. Would he use his God-given talents in a way that would lead young people astray? No. Would he throw others out in the street just so he could make or save a buck? No. This is what Jesus would do. Would he abandon thy neighbor at the most crucial time because of his own personal issues? No. What would the world be like today if everybody tried act as Jesus did? What truly is the lesson here? When you find yourself struggling with life's difficult decisions, ask yourself one simple question. What would Jesus do? Think about it. What would Jesus do? What this nation needs is an intervention. We all need to call him Jeremiah 3:33. But first, 2nd Chronicles. Oops, wrong version. I cannot do anything but the King James Version. 2nd Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land. Okay, pop-up just came up. He is not here, he has risen. Remember how he told you while he was still with you in Galilee? That just popped up. Call unto me, Jeremiah 3:33. I haven't quite memorized it, and this morning I'm not even going to attempt to recite it with my head pain. Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not. Our God's pretty amazing. And if you think about back then, in biblical times, they didn't have electricity. And they did fine. Talk about a luxury item. You ever thought about that? Interesting too, because the Amish, they don't use electricity, but they found ways of jerry-rigging it to have cell phones, technology, without using electricity. What a simple life they lead. Their clothes are very plain, nothing flashy, very reserved. It's interesting, it's just a sense of peace when you're around the Amish. Until you have a garage sale. And then you really see the Amish in a different light. Talk about an eye-opener. That's when I saw more of a darkness. I saw where the outside world, outside of their community, has done some damage to the Amish. Because what I witnessed at the garage sale is not part of what they believe in and what they practice, not faithful Amish. It would be really interesting to see how they do it. I should have paid more attention, but I'm going to do some research. I've done a lot of research anyway about surviving without different means of communication. I bought a radio that cranks and it doesn't even need batteries, it doesn't need solar, it doesn't need anything. Ironically, it was delivered the day that I was evicted. Go figure. And I found different ways of managing without having a kitchen, because I haven't been well enough to even go use my girlfriend's kitchen. I haven't had the strength, because I've got to drive at least a half hour to get to her house. And right now, I feel only comfortable going very short distances when my head pain is this bad. I haven't walked over to the market yet that I went to on Friday. I think it was Friday or Saturday. I can't remember what day. But what a nice little market and a sweet little restaurant that's an outdoor. It's so casual, so cool. So reminds me of the Virgin Islands. It's just unbelievable. And I love the Virgin Islands. Always did, from the time I was introduced to it. But if you've got the time, and it's on Tubi TV, what would Jesus do for free with commercials? Who cares? I mean, when did we get so busy with our lives that we had to pay extra so we didn't have commercials? I call them intermissions. Don't bother me a bit. I mean, I've got I use Netflix and Amazon Prime and that for watching movies without having commercials. But when you can watch one for free, well, I'm just saying, look at the tools that came out of that one movie. Just saying, anything is possible when you turn to Him. So if you're given a situation and you don't know what you should do, surrender it to Him. What would He do? What would He do? He certainly wouldn't be doing something that would harm another individual. He wouldn't do that. Think about what Jesus had, what He owned. Think about it. He didn't have anything. He didn't have a home. And then He traveled to spread God's word and heal the people in the land. And then He was rolled over for 30 shekels of silver, blood money. It's unbelievable what people will do for money. And shame on man for taking the authority that God gave him and doing what he's done to this world. God didn't do this. Man did. Man took the authority that God gave him and ran with it. Only problem is, start breaking all the commandments. And then would go to confession to confess their sins. And then just keep doing the same stuff over and over. Like it's okay. It's not how it works. If you're going to surrender and ask for forgiveness, you need to practice what you preach. Just saying. I'm just here to bring truth to the surface. Truth that's been hidden for way too long. That's what Jesus would do. It's not about attacking others. It's about bringing the truth to the surface and taking care of it once and for all. Just like Monroe County. Still haven't gotten a call back from that attorney, so he's going to get a call from Natalie today. I'd like to know why I'm getting the runaround. Also, I'd like to know why there's all of a sudden a typed up thing that I haven't read. That I didn't sign. With my name written all over it. Unbelievable. Which I'm not okay with. So, what would Jesus do? Could you imagine if you were the executioner at a jail? And that was your job? To flick the switch? Think about those people in those positions. And if they ask themselves, what would Jesus do? He certainly wouldn't be executing. Now would he? He'd be bringing him aside, having a come to Jesus meeting. It's just amazing. You want to talk about a revelation? Watch that movie. Watch The War Room too. Two extremely incredible tools to help you with a walk with faith. Two incredible tools to get your head rewired for what he's taught us in that beautiful written book that he wrote to us, the Holy Bible. Arm yourself with that. It's amazing. And I've witnessed it because I've utilized it. When you start bringing Jesus to the surface and put it right there in people's faces for the greater good, the enemy runs in fear every time. It's unbelievable. Even those churchgoers, that go to church and go to and Bible study and all that. You sit in church and talk about following Jesus. You even sing songs about him. But do you mean you are suffering and denying yourselves the way that he did? Are you really following his examples? I don't think slamming doors in people's faces is his example. It's not. It's not what Jesus would do. Jesus would not slam doors in people's faces, no matter what. Nor would I. Never have, never will. Now, my mother, I closed that chapter. But I didn't slam a door in her face. She slammed the door in my face. And I didn't need it. I didn't deserve it. It's because she didn't want to listen to the truth. She wanted to keep piling on her lies. Truth will set you free. And if God wants me on this earth, which He obviously does, because I'm still here, despite my head pain, then I'm going to keep people in their truth. And I'm going to keep spreading the truth. It's really funny when I compared Elkhart to here, thinking about attorneys up north. And I've been asked, who would I refer? And of course, my go-to, Rebecca Butler passed away, ironically here, scuba diving. But up north, it was amazing the number of attorneys that I would call, and they called me right back, that were friends of mine. But down here, and the corruption, it's so bad, and my name is on a list, there's no doubt. I got that loud and clear. Not one attorney down here, all the way up to Miami, called me back. Not one of them. Now there were a couple that were pro bono attorneys, and for what I was asking for, they don't help with, but they did get back with me. So those were reputable attorneys that I would recommend all day long, because they did, in fact, get back. And they even suggested going further northern Florida, which is ridiculous. That's pitiful that it's that corrupt that I have to go that far up northern Florida for help. Oh, and I've reached out to DeSantos with no avail. So that concerns me as well. Just saying. Something's rotten in Denmark. I haven't figured it out yet, and I'm not saying Denmark as in the country Denmark. I'm talking about figuratively speaking. In today's world, you have to be so specific about what you say because people will take it out of context. I don't even know why that saying was for Denmark. I have to look that up. I don't quite understand. But anyway, what would Jesus do? Are you really following His examples? I am. I am every day. And I have been for quite some time. So, as you start Holy Week, and you've got decisions to make along the way, before you make a decision in haste, think about what He would do. Think about a world where everybody thought about Him before they made a decision in life, before they opened up their yap and lied, before they opened up their yap and hurt somebody for no good reason, because their own demons need to inflict pain and suffering on someone else to give them a little bit of relief. Think about that. And think about what Jesus would do. He wouldn't take somebody's unfortunate events and sensationalize them for His own personal gain. He wouldn't do that. He was about love. Spreading love. And spreading God's word. That's what he was about. Just saying. He wasn't about taking women and children from others that don't belong to him, then selling them as slaves on the open market. Or putting him in these sex rings. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. We all need to do our part in this world to make it a better place. And if you turn to him first and then start spreading love, think about what a different world this would be that we live in. Despite the corrupt government in the Florida Keys, the people here that are transplants from wherever else they were, and the people that grew up here, there's a lot I've met, and people that come to visit are all happy people. Now the ones that are here that are not happy, they don't belong here, and it's as clear as a bell. I've even told one, why don't you go back to New York, where they treat people like that, because I've been to New York, and I thought Chicago had issues with their attitudes until I walked into New York, and I only spent one afternoon in New York, and I was toured with a police officer there, friend of a friend. Took us on a tour. That was way before 9/11. People were rude, obnoxious. Oh my word, I was disgusted. I was like, and you call yourself a human? I'm sorry. We all put our pants on the same way. That is a rough area. That needs a lot of Jesus. A lot of Jesus. New York, California, D.C. Those are the three in my book. I'm sure there's others. But those are the three right off the top of my head. But it's amazing how when you look around and you start listening and really researching and doing your homework on what's been going on for years, you realize where adjustments need to be made. Drastic changes need to be made. I'm reading the Bible every day, or almost every day. Reading devotions every day with scriptures. And you can learn from that beautiful love letter that he left us all. He has left us with the tools that we need to survive and flourish and be fruitful in this world. And man has taken that and altered it to better suit him. So you see those who are just living high off the hog, without a care in the world, or so they think. And then there's people like me out there. Oh, and there's a lot of us that are making their way despite the cards that were dealt. And we're doing it with love, grace, honesty, integrity, honor, with huge smiles on our faces. It's truly amazing when you surrender fully to Him. The difference your life is. I am at peace every day. And despite my hiccups, I just keep going on, and if I have to stay in and rest, then so be it. So be it. And the best part about living down here is I don't have to lay out in the sun for hours like I used to. Well, I needed it. I laid out in the sun for hours for peace and quiet. And then listening to some music. Fellowship with friends, family, neighbors. I always invited everyone. Always, when I had parties, would invite the neighborhood. I didn't know them all. I didn't care. Bring a dish to Pash, but if you don't have one, we'll have plenty of food. Just please come. We would love to have you. It's amazing when you open up your home to strangers. What beautiful relationships you make along the way. But man wants everybody to live in fear. Look around, every time you turn on the TV, they're trying to give you more fear of something new. And now they're going after the children because the adults have woken up. Disney movies. Are you kidding me? A red panda bear that gets angry. You release the red panda inside you. That is not healthy at all. And there's nothing healthy about that. And for Disney to put that out there that it was, I'm all about all kinds of things of that movie that were positive. But the negative undertones far outweigh the positives. And I didn't even have to watch the movie. I just watched the trailer. I don't know that I could sit through a movie like that. But thank the Lord that pastor did. You can Google, it's in one of my previous videos. I believe I talked about. I'm not sure if I talked about that specific pastor, but he really hit a home run with his video about that movie. And that's not the only one. Video games have been desensitizing children for years because parents stopped being parents. They handed their kids one of these. Now, not all parents, but there are too many out there that have given their kids these. If you want to give your kids these, they need to be monitored, censored. They have positive aspects. something happens, they can call home. They can call 911. I did that accidentally the other night. I had my weighted thing on my head and my heating pad on, but underneath that, and I was trying to turn my phone off, and I apparently hit 911. I felt terrible. I was like, I am so sorry. I said, I'm in the dark, and I'm trying to turn my phone off. So I'd never done that before, and I was like, what is that noise on my phone? It's making the weirdest noise. And then I heard a man's voice on the other side. Yipes. But if people would think about what Jesus would do before they did something, think about the beautiful world we would live in. Just saying, what would Jesus do? So think about that as you start Holy Week, and see if that doesn't help you make better decisions in your life. And maybe, just maybe, those cards you've been dealt will change, like mine, every day. Every day. So stay tuned. I'll have more coming up. I'm starting to feel a little bit of relief. I think I took a quadruple dose because when I tried to do 6 at once, my mouth is too small for that. It was like my whole mouth was so full. So my loading dose is 4, and I only did 4. I haven't done, but I can feel my pain in my neck, so I'm going to take 2 more to just zap up the level of medicine, God's medicine, above. I call it love because it's an 8, OVE, with a triangle pointing up. But above means them too, so just saying. Crazy when you use this and holistic remedies and purified water. I've been on those now. Well, it'll be a year after April. I think after April I've been on them a year. But I don't take them every day. And they're one and done. Usually. Unless it's something that's been throughout my body and I'll have to take it, and then several days later it might be in a combination with something else, but it's a different vial because they're one-time use vials, and you just need 1 drop under your tongue. So between above and Dr. Herman is quantum remedies that are formulated for my body only. I have managed to stay out of the hospital for over a year, and then some, with 0 pharmaceuticals in over a year, because the last time I had pharmaceuticals was in the ambulance, going to the emergency room. And I have not taken any over-the-counter anything except for Benadryl. No ibuprofen, no Tylenol, no none of that. Now, if they gave me that at either hospital that I was at in February of last year, I don't recall. I don't think I've had any of that in my body in 2 years. Unless, like I said, they did it at one of those 2 hospitals back in February. But I have no need to go to the hospital. so I could balloon up to 186 pounds again and barely function in life. At least I'm functioning, even if I'm horizontal now. Because I've taken my own medical care into my own hands and found what works and what doesn't work. And this vibration method is huge with people that suffer chronic pain. Huge. What I'm going to tell you about, it is yesterday when I had my leg warmers on and I decided to sit on it instead of put it on my back. I could feel my legs cracking, which is good. It's opening things up. This morning, when I laid, because my head pain came on, like I was woken up. That's how bad it was. At 3, a little after 3 this morning. I think it was actually 3:03. My head, I could feel it popping and cracking. I could even feel some pressure in my ears relieving. Then when I put it on my face, it was a huge difference. It was like I could feel the pressure being relieved. Now, right now, this is starting to kick in. I can feel, because I can feel it touching my face, I can feel how this is, I don't want to say numbing it, but it's kind of, it feels kind of numb. A little bit. Not normal. Like when you feel your skin, it just doesn't, the senses are different when you're on this, or when this starts kicking in. That's probably a better way for me to describe it. So when you touch, it's almost kind of delayed right now. But then what ends up happening is my brain opens up to a whole nother level and runs with whatever thought process I'm on when that fully is in my body. So if you want to try something for pain management, I would strongly recommend this Above by SunMed, and they ship all over the country. It's got a hint of THC that apparently isn't illegal everywhere else. And the one that I use is the Power Terp, which is 33 milligrams per milliliter. And there's 30 milliliters in this bottle. So, what would Jesus do? Try things other than pharmaceuticals. Start drinking purified water to cleanse your body of the toxins. It would be really interesting to have a test market of people that just switched from just to purified water if their bodies started changing. I watched a video where chemicals have been put in our water. Well, they've been doing that for years. It smells like a swimming pool. I'm not drinking it. You don't drink swimming pool water. Why would you drink it coming out of your tap if it smelled like swimming pool? When my Princess Harley stopped drinking it, that's when I stopped drinking it. Any kind of water except for purified. And the other thing that she's done is she eats the grass here, which is not tainted because it's not been chemically treated. Neither dog throw it up. They poop it out. But she's eating the grass. She's also eating the coral rocks. So there's nutrients in both here in Florida Keys that the dogs need. And it's amazing. The people here look at her and they're like, she is 17 years old. I said, she's moving a little slow, but now yesterday she was not moving slow. She had zippity doo-dah. So whatever she's doing outside of the food that I'm making is supplementing. So, I need to find out what the composition is of this stuff. And she eats the weirdest things, and I don't bother her. She's not eating it to throw up. She's eating it because it's nutrients. And it's unreal. Her coloring is beautiful. They're like, she's not even gray. Mm-mm. Her tan's never been dark tan, but it's starting to get some darkness to it. So it's pretty interesting when you watch their diets, you watch their intakes. You are what you eat. Guaranteed. So, what would Jesus do as your homework assignment for Holy Week? As you walk through the day, walk through your life this week, when you are in front of a situation where you know you need to do the right thing, do the right thing. Because what would Jesus do? He'd do the right thing. Have a great Monday. Love to all bunches and bunches.